Going to be forced back here. Moya still occupying those bushes, and Tensai lights Maru up from long range. Now Crazy Raccoon can just get incremental damage on that safe. There's no hurry here.
Yeah, same really strong stuff from CR coming out early on, but extra credits coming from Mori, burning down the exact same
so much damage.
That's what Crazy Raccoon have got in a matter of seconds. Maru burning through some of these shots, Gravity ready to go from Shitampo on the right, but he can't move any further than just that. Now, cards ready to be thrown out by Maru, can deal a lot of damage, and the burst straight through everybody as well.
Look at Totem's safe though. It's taking damage this entire time because Joker's been having a one-on-one with it here. Trying to get Tensai out of the way, but it's Nani with the Warp Blast going to the back corner, and it's like Reply Totem were too slow to respond. Shitampo now from that right-hand side. Yes, they do finally get rid of the Nani, but at what cost?
Yeah, just falling apart at the thoughts of it here. Moya coming down this left-hand side, ready to slow down Mori. Gets in range, and Shitampo's going to be
dangerous.
Well, Super coming down. Joker's caught in it, and support from beyond should finish him off. Now all three on the save, and that has got to be it. The piercing should finish this one, surely, but they're backing off and they're playing it slow.
So instead he wins the race here. They might have a lot more burst damage Reply Totem, but the consistency is there for Crazy Raccoon. Mari trying to deal with another of those shades. Shitampo knows it's one more shot and job done. Crazy Raccoon don't need it to be a sprint. A marathon is more their style.
Played that slow, didn't want to over-aggress, didn't want to overstay their welcome in that aggressive side of the map. So Shitampo just waited out, you know, sitting in that corner, maybe hit a Gravity here and then, but waiting for his team to re-establish themselves in that mid to be able to get that burst damage and get it done.
It's such a control-oriented composition. Yeah, Murray can step up and in like one tap do 20% damage to that safe, but Crazy Raccoon don't give up mid. This composition basically says you are not walking into these bushes.
Well, instant control from CR once again. Maru getting slowed down by these shots of Moya, and Tensai should be able to add some more damage in as well. Already got his peep, but Shitampo cleaned up on that right-hand side for the first time in a while.
Poke damage from Tensai here. Hasn't popped the peep just yet. Lovely stuff. Lines up Joker 2, hit by the Gale Force. Here's Moya, keeps Maru and Mori at arm's length for now. And again, just a tap here, tap there. Here's the Gravity, sucks Joker in. Maru trying to come to the rescue. And of course, an attacking shade coming out of that dark portal gets a bit of free damage. It's already 25% Trav on that safe.
Totem having a real tough time here. Turret now available from Mori, going to have that damage boost, but if he can't get anywhere near to the safe, he's not really going to help. Oh. There's the super coming in from Tensai, and Shitampo follows in too. Support from beyond on the safe as well. Huge damage coming in from that. 41% taken off the Reply Totem, and they're yet to even glance at the Crazy Raccoon safe. Crazy
Raccoon absolutely not bothered about that damage amp on that left-hand side. Reply Totem not in a position to set Mori up for success just yet. 41%. They have absolutely battered that safe down. Murray finally able to deal with Shitampo with an opportunity, a window for Reply Totem to step into mid.
Well, as soon as they get that window, we see the Warp Blast up top from Tensai, and Moya should be dealing some damage to the safe, getting a slow down. Oh. 4 HP, and he does survive down on that right-hand side, but Maori going to move this turret further up, establish himself higher up the map, and try get some damage down, as they're not even got a percent yet.
Reply Totem moved the line of scrimmage finally into enemy territory, but Shitampo does not want to give mid up so easily. Comes on in, gets picked up pretty easily, so this should be an opportunity, but of course in the background, once more, you better believe it, it's Nani, Tensai, putting pressure down and drawing Joker out of mid.
Yeah, and getting damage too. Oh, he's gonna fall, no. He comes around the back and he doesn't communicate it. Joker gonna be able to burn Tensai down, but the rest of the SCR gonna be joining them up top. 30 seconds, even if Totem get on safe right now, they're gonna need every single shred of damage they can do straight onto that safe, and they're going nowhere. Shitampo locking this down, Moya and Tensai joining them up top too, and this is a set to CR.
Absolutely systematic deconstruction of Reply Totem's defense here. Yeah, they can get the kills and damage, but none of it's been on the safe. Tensai steps up once more as Shitampo from the periphery will make sure the job is well and truly done.
100% remains on CR's safe, and it lasted the entire game. 3 seconds was left on that clock, and they did not get a shred of damage on CR's safe. That is got to be worrying, and it begs the question, are CR just too good for the rest of our teams?
Tensai with his cheat sheet here. It probably doesn't have too much on it except just click heads. It was impossible for Reply Totem to gain map control, right? Up against the Gale, who, yeah, he's outranged. But if you can't see him, you can't really punish him, right? You can't sort of shoot him down from across the map. And as soon as you try and take that mid control, Gale Force is used, Gravity is used, all of a sudden you have nowhere to go. Even a tanky, durable brawler like that 8-bit cannot move up the map. And then, if there's any risk of Reply Totem going on the aggressive, okay, Warp Blast the peep in the back corner. And both Tensai and Shitampo could not be 1v1 by Reply Totem. It took more than one player each time to get them out of that position.
I mean, this is just the pure mechanics, right? The reason Tensai has so many of these TPs available, the supers, the peeps, is because he just hits every single shot, and it's really worrying for Reply Totem at this point. If they're playing this well in a game mode like Heist, if you can't get any damage on safe, what are you going to be able to do in the other modes, where you can't just rush up the map and get damage?
There's nothing particularly elaborate about the draft here for a Crazy Raccoon. I think you mentioned it, the mechanics, I think on a fundamental level, there's a gap right now. Reply Totem, we know what they're capable of. We know what they did at Masters. We know they can stand up to a team like Crazy Raccoon, but right now, pound for pound, they are well and truly behind.
Well, I'm pretty sure Reply Totem are going to have to rely heavily on winning the drafts to be able to have a say in any of these games. 8-8-7 for the side of Crazy Raccoon, with huge DPS coming out of all three of them. Maru, Joker, and Mori, 5-7-4. Not even the top player on Totem can match the bottom of CR.
How do you feel in the end as we throw back real quickly to that Amber pick? Obviously, you want to burn down some of those bushes, but it didn't seem like it was able to make too much of a difference in the end.
I mean, it had that Tara matchup all the way through as well, and it just seemed like he was getting super after super after super, and Joker was really quite unaware of it a lot of the time, standing in those bushes, and then there just wasn't the pinch when he kind of established himself further up the map behind those unbreakable walls in the top right-hand side corner.
Amber can't do anything there.
Because Tensai's always on the left too.
Absolutely brutal stuff. We've seen like Penny, Amber both picked into Tara to punish her, right? Just destroy their health from beyond, ignore it virtually. Wasn't nearly enough for Reply Totem, so last stop comes up for our second set here in this best of 5. We'll be heading over to Gem Grab, and if you don't ban Max, you sure as hell better pick it.
Yeah, well, we saw that Luminosity proved a point that it's not just Crazy Raccoon who can use this brawler, so if you let a player like Tensai get his hands on that,
forget about
being torn apart. And I mean, they've just done it without some of their comfort picks. With them, what are Totem going to do?
Absolutely. We talked about how important it is for Reply Totem to find success in the drafts. If they really want to have a chance, they need to derive some kind of advantage before the game even starts, we feel, to have a chance to stand on even footing with Crazy Raccoon. Righto, no Max ban here. Sandy, though, taken away by Crazy Raccoon. Loon, of course, Charlie has to be removed. Amber taken away. Gale, of course, has really been hotly contested. Reply Totem see the Tara and they say, we want that first.
Can't blame them for it either, especially with how well Shitampo played that in the previous one and how well it worked for Luminosity in the previous. Chino had that brawl and he was dominating the opposition. Crazy Raccoon have the next two though, I mean, with Sandy, Lou, Charlie all banned out, and the same on the other side, 6 bans across this map. It doesn't really leave too many options, but mids still need to be grabbed, and if you want a good mid, it's pretty much got to be your first or second here.
I feel like Crazy Raccoon, though, a little bit harder to ban out, especially, by the way, if they are picking first, because you only have 2 slots to do it. One of the first squeaks we've seen for this entire tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you know, support from beyond, it can get cleaned up pretty much by one shot of that squeak. It's all bunched up in the same place. So if you get a connection onto those, you quite often get a connection onto Tara and vice versa as well.
Residue, obviously, very powerful, a bit of extra crowd control. Speaking of which, Rosa now has that in spades with those grasping roots. Our first hypercharged brawler of the draft picked up for Shitampo.
I think we can't forget as well, Reply Totem have been one of the only other teams who have picked up this Max, so it's worrying for Crazy Raccoon to kind of let that slip as well, and especially when paired up with the Tara. If you use those, you know, in combination, max speed, gravity, it can really be devastating. Although, you know, there it is. You know, I don't blame Reply Totem for it. They're taking out Crazy Raccoon's hands and having one of their comfort picks. They're going to add Shelly to the mix, and that's got a good bit of synergy with that Max.
I mean, you said you're either going to ban it or take it yourself here. Crazy Raccoon happy to leave that for last pick. Maybe not expecting Reply Totem to beeline for it here, but Totem, we know they got the mechanical prowess to get some value out of that pick here in the Shelly. We know how powerful she has been so far. So how do you round out this draft? Maybe something with a little bit more range here, something that can dominate a little bit more, maybe on that side lane or even through mid here. It's going to be the 8-bit. Pretty durable gem carry, of course, and being able to get out of dodge nice and quickly when under pressure with that cheat cartridge may pay dividends.
I mean, the cheat cartridge is the huge selling point here, and especially when you're looking at the Tara on the opposing side. He comes at you with that super, you've got to get away from it, but you've got to be very mindful about the fact he can just wait it out and play it when you do TP back if the rest of your team's putting him under some pressure as well. So I think Reply Totem, they do have a very solid draft here. We've got to be very smart and very alert to the fact that Crazy Raccoon, they're so mechanically strong, they know how everybody's going to play, that they're going to be able to evade some of these plays.
Maybe there's a world where Reply Totem are forced into playing the Max here just because they can't afford to give it over. So let's see if they can get the same level of value out of it as Crazy Raccoon have in the past. Shitampo here. That residue on the right-hand side is going to slow the Shelly up for the time being already. The speed boost from Joker to try and counter that out. as Maru moves into the middle of the map.
It slows all around. 2 residues and an unfriendly bush is coming in from Tensai on the left-hand side. Joker does take the gem lead so far, but Moya quickly reverses that as he picks up 2 from the spawn. And Mori winning the left, but Shitampo dominating the right.
Now, Mori can't do much to Moya, though, not unless he gets right up in his face here. Tensai returns, again, frustrating. This help from beyond at times as Joker wants to collapse onto the left-hand side. Phase shift to use this. The pressure was getting put on by Moya, and Shitampo now still dominating the matchup against the Shelly.
Friendly Bushes resets Joker's health and slows him down too. Mori gonna have this pull, might be better off using it on Tensai here, does get him there. The super comes through from him as well, reverses it back, but still so low, and that's something that Mori can't lose.
Yeah, Moya hoping to at least get a trade out of that one, but both Joker and Mori emerge after picking off the Rosa. Now Joker wants to go forward. Let's go pop to another phase shifter for a reposition. They really want to exploit Tensai here and punish him. Another gravity deploy, but Moya is able to find Joker. Now our gems are on the less ideal carrier.
I mean, Shitampo, no gadgets left now. Shelly might have a bit more of a say in this matchup, but Joker's going to have to provide speed. Instantly, super going to come out. Believe it might be the slowing value as well. Mori going to go down. Gems back onto the head of Joker, which is helpful overall. But in this situation, 8 gems make that 9 from Crazy Raccoon. Something magical's got to happen.
Straight off spawn, Joker pops the super. A bit of a speed boost, but it really only allows Reply Totem to jockey for position. Lane swap here. Maru now gets the fight against Tensai as we head into the countdown. Mori, though, got a bit caught by the big blob bomb here. Ton of damage coming out from Shitampo. And Moya, hard to catch. Now, of course, he can use that cheat cartridge to reposition in a pinch if he needs to, but he won't have to. My goodness, look at that D from Crazy Raccoon. Forcing Reply Totem right back.
Picking them off one by one. And Shelly had that hypercharge but couldn't make use of it. Didn't have a super, and when he was so close to getting it, they just cleaned him up before he could really make anything happen. Tough stuff for Reply Totem once more. They had a good start, but Shitampo had that right-hand side locked down, and Tensai even had a say in that Tara matchup on the left.
Instead, you were waiting out as the Shelly for those residue gadgets to be used up, but by the time they were, there was too much of an advantage in gems for Moya.
They seem to have swapped here. They sent Joker over the left, over the right early on, sorry, and Mori down the mid, but flipped back to how it should be now. Shitampo going to be taken down. Nice phase shift from Joker to get close and tank that damage through. But Tensai in a bit of a tough spot now. Super coming down there from Maru. Gets him slowed, but Moya's going to pick up that mid.
Maru may be concerned that there'd be a pinch, I think, on the mid by Tensai, so keeps him busy and blows up that wall on the left-hand side. Unfriendly bushes straight off the spawn. No time for Maru to get away, and now player advantage briefly for Crazy Raccoon. Maru with 5 gems in hand. Moya a fair way behind here, but has way more map control as Maru and Tensai continue to do the dance.
Should have got back into it straight away. Tensai's going to survive on this left-hand side. Moya playing through this mid, and Maori with the gems again, never in the favorable hands for the side of Totem. Joker not surviving as well as he should have, but there's the speed, there's the hypercharge from Maru as well. Gadget placed down, residue on the right-hand side, but Tensai in the position of dreams on the left.
Still only 3. Paltry 3 gems for Moya. Able to pick up another one now. Hypercharge pop by Maru as he transitions to the left-hand side of the map. Tensai unwilling to make use of his at such low HP, so he opts out of the fight. Mori wants to get aggressive now. Moya might be under pressure too, but Joker takes a licking from those 8-bit shots and has to take a sidebar.
Pigeon once more from Maru, trying to get some shots through, but Tensai moving over to that right-hand side, and this should be following him, but 3 gems dropped there, and that's almost going to get the lead. They might be able to pick up.
Oh no!
Him straight back.
Totem nails Maru, blows apart Shitampo, but Moya has the gems. They've got to come forward. No super here for Joker. Hypercharge pop for Maru now.
Again, Crazy Dragon. What a
takes him low. This is unbelievable. Moya hangs on in the final seconds.
Taram margidi.
Lock it up.
2 sets now for Crazy Raccoon. So close to a Totem reset. But the question is, could they have got them out? Could they have survived long enough to be able to bring that back to their side? Reverse sweep needed once more. It didn't pull through for Luminosity, but Reply Totem have a dream.
And they have a very tall hill to climb now. We said we quite enjoyed the draft, actually. We felt the Reply Totem came out of that pretty well. They bring the max in of their own. It seems to have value. At times, really putting the pinch on Moya on the 8-bit through mid. Constantly trying to find those like favorable lane assignments, switching the Shelly into the Rosa lane away from the squeak here. Some pretty insane moments, of course, that went down. You can see a lot of the time, though, they're trying to exploit Tensai early, get the Rosa off the map, and then try and pinch the other side.
I mean, Rosa was just too strong. There's a Tara, there's a Shelly on both of the lanes. No matter what lane he goes to, it should be a pretty bad matchup, right? But it just never is. Tensai makes it work regardless, whether that's with the unfriendly bushes or some really nice defensive moments like this. And this was so close to getting the damage through. Maru gets the kill and even has the hypercharge to get close, but just not close enough to deal the big damage.
Now, Moya is one tap there, basically, to anyone right at the end of that round here. Tensai has a tough job. He's on that Rosa, really trying to exert as much control as possible and be a threat from behind enemy lines. So no surprise to see it maybe damage numbers struggling a little bit. You can't ask much more from your mid there with Moya. 325 DPS and 7 takedowns. Scooping up those gems and being very slippery, very hard to catch with that gadget.
On the same DPS across the way for both of them, it's here. Moya and Joker getting the most out of their teams. But I think the deciding factor was Moya just didn't go down anywhere near as much as Joker. Joker seemed to be dropping those gems quite frequently. Mori had to pick them up, get them on top of a Tara, who needs to be able to rest, take risks.
Hey, you're the initiator there, right? You need to set up those big gravities. Bounty on deck now for what may be the final set. Reply Totem can't reverse their fortunes and quick. You don't get any breathing room in a game like this. It's do or die. And Crazy Raccoon, there were whispers coming into this, right? I think a lot of people base their expectations based on that Masters showing. Much has changed since then. This team seems to be back in form, and not even Reply Totem can put a scratch on them thus far.
Well, I think if they're going to do it at any point, this might be the point. Sharpshooters, not really what Crazy Raccoon are known for. They're known for that aggression, they're known for the maxes coming in very, in their opponent's faces. RT picked up from Joker, can do both of those things. Can play aggressive, can play defensive, and the hacking gadget, getting the damage down when you need to finish off a kill that's so far away can be so useful.
Great first pick, right? It's really versatile and gives you modality. Plenty of options, especially with how things come to a head at the end of these bounty rounds. Having all the potential seems pretty good. Piper and Nani taken off the map. I don't think Crazy Raccoon have any interest in contending with that, but they will take a sharpshooter of their own.
I like this Carl ban as well from Reply Totem. You know, it not only is it good on this map, but it targeted as well. Through the last World Finals, everybody knew FCR were going to play. They knew it, but still didn't ban it and still got destroyed by it. Even if they counted it as much as they could, nothing would work for them. Meg's going to come down from Crazy Raccoon. Along with that, Mandy, a bit of aggression to go along with it. I mean, I'm not going to hold back. I really don't like Meg. But, like, people make it work, you know?
This is a Shtatampo classic, right? We often see this one come out hot zone, even gem grab at times here, depending on the kind of map. We know just how powerful it can be. It's a real peak and trough, feast or famine kind of brawler here. The Crazy Raccoon seem very, very good at mitigating that loss of impact that Meg suffers when she gets knocked out of that mech. So look to see them really play around the desuited Meg with more aggression to buy time for her to get back there. Tensai's going to be able to deal with consistent damage here. Maru, though, we see a Sprout pick up here for Totem.
Yeah, I mean, with Tick banned out by them, it kind of leaves that only logical thrower left as the Sprout. So I really don't mind that. Going to be able to block off through a few entryways, especially that mid. You can block off the entirety of it and force someone else into a bit of an unfavourable matchup. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a 2v1, but if you've got someone you can exploit, like a Meg on one of those lanes, then I think it's solid to push him into that 2v1 matchup. Bell going to be coming in as well to be able to get those bounces through when they're grouped up.
Yeah, still sharpshooter available, of course. If you get that star lead, just pave the way with nest eggs to make it very, very hard for the team behind you in stars to get the drop on you here. It's both teams with sharpshooters. Yeah, we saw yesterday, I think, just how effective that Sprout could be against any sort of sharpshooter presence, essentially shutting them down for the duration of that hedge and then being able to transplant it away. Very frustrating to try and deal with. Feels like a really well-rounded draft here from Reply Totem. A bit of everything. Grom, okay, picked up. You said that maybe Sprout the only logical thrower remaining. Crazy Raccoon, though, got plans of their own.
I mean, I think the Grom's pretty good against the Sprout all in all. In terms of, like, overall against other brawlers, yes, Sprout might be better, might be good in certain situations, but in that 1v1, Grom does come out on top quite a lot. And in the closing seconds, if you've got a Grom bomb, it's always going to be so useful.
Your number 2 seed in EMEA looking down the barrel of another quarterfinal exit from the Brawl Stars World Finals at the hands of some of the same players. They're hoping to subvert the trend and break the cycle of history here, but it's going to have to be in the form of a reverse sweep, starting here in Bounty.
Instantly out Meg now is Moya. Joker can't find the connecting shots to bring him down yet, but already has that wall. Going to throw it on the right-hand side, get rid of some of that bush, so Mandy can't hide as well as she'd like to.
I think Moya kind of have a looks at things. He said, okay, I'm going to get tapped to pieces here, but if we can get an advantage, I'll gladly suffer that indignity. Chitapo here dueling up, so getting marked every now and then by that RT, but not too bothered. A lot of real estate, though, has been ceded by Crazy Raccoon.
Joker juking so well, Tensai. Put some extra wall here, possibly stopping Moya from pinching onto Joker as well, as I'm sure it'd like to. There you go, nice positioning from him. Joker coming forward. Only few shots, he's juking so well. Perfectly, Tensai, you really yet to find a shot.
The Sugar Ray just leaving Maru standing, only just. But that does at least give an opportunity here for Crazy Raccoon to get back in the game. Moya back in the mech, it's time to go.
And he finds it now, nice super coming in from the Mandy there, cleans up the mid of Reply Totem. Mori gotta make something happen in this long-range matchup, and the mech is back for Moya. Huge stuff from him, and only 45 seconds on the clock for Reply Totem to mount an offense.
Maru getting no easy taps here, but that hedge thrown down to make it hard for Chitapu to punish Maru, who's trying to step forward and get Moya out of mech once more. Tensai, of course, a little bit susceptible at these ranges to sharpshooters, but the mark from Maru doesn't connect. Joker, what?
Chitapo's low on this right side though. Can he get a kill? He's evading Tensai. Brings it back a little bit closer. Moya's low, and the bounce will flip it. Mori's gonna survive this one though. Tensai throwing nice. He's too small. Just evades it. 15 seconds, and he's gotta get through this choke point.
Now Crazy Raccoon have got to go on the offensive, but they lose Tensai in order to do so.
Seriana twist pa, Seriana twist.
He has super available, but who can he go for? It's a 3-star lead, and that one goes wayward. He knows it's over. Finally, Reply Totem get on the board.
Great start then. Well, great starting bounty, I should say, from Reply Totem, because the rest of it hasn't been so convincing.
I mean, you're right. Don't need to forget those last 2 sets. If you're trying to reverse sweep, just pretend it's a 3-0 from here on out.
Yeah, well, I mean, Reply Totem really not in the best spot coming into this one, but they played it patient. They played it so smart, waited for those opportunities, and found them perfectly. Moya went really aggressive and lost the metal start, which did lose them a lot of value. Can he stay in it this time? The top box will tank, and he will.
There's a sense here that this team for Crazy Raccoon is designed to pick up the blue star and try and play safe for much of the rest of the game. And when they have to go aggressive and they, for example, don't have a mech, it seems like a very dangerous proposition. Oh my goodness, Mari! Yep, got the mark, got the kill. Reply Totem now with that 1-star lead, no blue star required.
Yeah, that's the hack I'm talking about. Toolbox is going to be tanking that shot, but a kill on the left from Maru. Beautiful from him, and Tensai compromised as well. Moya on the right, out of mech, and in a tough position now against this RT. Doesn't have the range, doesn't have the damage, and doesn't have the HP.
Reply Totem now, they could ease into this, they could take their foot off the gas, but I somehow feel like the opposite will be the case. Mari daring Moya to try and challenge here. Maru as well, tapping Tensai up as he tries to move up the map. Grom struggling to get direct damage as Joker deftly steps into the corner of that 4-star throw.
The hack on the right from Mori there to get that kill. Gadget secures it against Moya. And Chitapo marked up in this matchup on the left-hand side. If he stands still, he's going to be in a real tough spot unless he feels really confident about it. Has the super, and that could be dangerous in the closing seconds. Same if a Grom bomb does come down.
5-star lead, it's huge for Reply Totem. Chitapo also marked up by Maru, so if he tries to go aggressive, he could be on the wrong end of it. Maru gets the mark, we got caught by the Sugar Ray. Chitapo walks though into that nest egg, but there's no follow-up here. 4 plays 6 with 27 seconds left in the round.
Yeah, throw a match on the right is going Joker's way so far. Mori now just trying to fend off Moya, try not to give him that mech, but at the same time he's got to get some shots. He's got to stop him from pushing forward, so he's going to be able to do just that. The hack onto him once more, shouldn't be able to survive too long. Robbomb comes down, Joker evading beautifully, Tensai falls, and they extend the lead.
How do you come back from this one? We have a mech out of mech. They've got a big job to do, and I don't think it's happening. Reply Totem get themselves a set, and now we have a game.
Back in business. Reply Totem looking good in that one, looking convincing, waited for the moment and took it perfectly when it arose.
Feels like the strategy there, like I want to rehash this a little bit from Crazy Raccoon. A little one-dimensional. Get us a blue star, step back, step up Pina Colada. But Reply Totem refused to give them that space. And if you can't win the sharpshooter matchup, you fall behind 5 stars, you've got to find a way to get aggressive. But then you're depending on having a mech, and most of the time Moya did not.
Yeah, I mean the Totem fans getting behind them as well. After this win, I mean they're going to need a lot of momentum on their side. Yes, they might have it in game, but the fans screaming, shouting, helping them out from the crowd as well might go quite a long way.
I think it's important as we look over some of these moments for Reply Totem to be reminded that Crazy Raccoon are fallible, that gods can bleed. See, this was when Maori pressured that back corner against Chitapo. Really important momentum builder for this Reply Totem roster. Boy, every time we look at him, no mech, no problem for Reply Totem. Then Tensai struggling in the thrower matchup there as well. The sprout play was absolutely sublime.
Joker was juking pretty much perfectly, really well throughout the entire game. I feel like maybe we saw him get one Grom bomb across 2 sets, which just isn't what you need. You need to be getting those frequently, using those in the closing seconds. And even when he got it in that closing second, Joker evaded it anyway. He just knows how to play against that Grom literally perfectly.
I mean, he said with tick banned, Sprout seems like the only really good option, and then the other throwers feel like they're a little bit medium, right? I mean, Grom, if you have good mechanics, you can absolutely avoid a lot of that damage if the Grom bombs aren't being generated relatively frequently. The Mandy looked fine, right? A couple of big supers there that did connect in an uncanny fashion, but a lot of them didn't result in kills. And if you get marked in that sharpshooter matchup and you're behind in stars, you can't come forward. You can't try and remediate that deficit of stars because you're taking far too much damage. You can't win trades against anyone which has been marked, and that thing doesn't just fall off you. You are stuck with it.
A few kills from the Gadget as well. The RT really showing its value there. Mori obviously championing that brawler really did so well for him. The Gadget is a huge thing for him. You know, didn't even see him drop his legs once, didn't even see him play defensive, didn't even need to because they really weren't in that offensive line. Usually it's Meg going aggressive, but there was no Meg, so she couldn't.
I'm just beaming ear to ear, I think, as he's starting to be proven right. In terms of how he feels about that pick. Brawl Ball comes up next. Super Beach, of course, characterized by that triple row of unbreakable boxes just behind the mid. Get past that, you can shoot for goal without being right in front of it here. Crazy Raccoon on Brawl Ball, not a terrible prospect here. Reply Totem have to win it out from here.
They got the fans behind them once more, screaming at the camera, ready to roll, going into this draft. Super Beach, they need this set and another. Crazy Raccoon, just this one to close it out and head to the semi-finals. Nita will be the pick and the first one from Reply Totem.
First pick, Nita. Is this out of left field for you here? I mean, again, we've seen it can be exploitable. Very powerful if you can start to cycle those bears, though.
I mean, different map. We saw the first pick Nita yesterday from Foot in that closing set, and it did not pay off whatsoever. I feel like Nita, you know, if you know what you're being, if basically you know that they're going to run into it, it can be so hard to play as that first pick. But Reply Totem clearly have a lot of faith in that brawler. Sandy and Spike, the mid-range brawlers, kind of just about being able to, you know, take a bit of range advantage over this Nita, and the Sandy can obviously put her to sleep if she does get in range.
Really powerful side laners. The Sandy stun is, yeah, like you said, unbelievably powerful, and it's barely targeted, really. Get close enough and you will connect. Sandstorm comes down, creates a huge amount of space and then extra survivability from Moya, not to mention, of course, the hypercharge potential. Reply Totem again go for the max. They say, okay, we cannot afford to give this to you. We'll make use of it ourselves.
I mean, they see the Sandy, they see the brawler that's got the best goal scoring capability in the game, and if you pair a max with that, you put her in those positions to do just that, get those goals. So they don't want to provide the max to Crazy Raccoon. They might have not liked it the best themselves. I mean, they're going to pair a Roast, so clearly they had a game plan going into this one. You can't complain at this Reply Totem comp at all. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. But Crazy Raccoon bringing the Maisie knockback ability for that Rose, and I think it's a solid pick from them too.
Again, more hypercharge. It means that, you know, once you pop that shockwave, and of course you can disengage. You have insane mobility, and you're very serviceable rather at mid to long range. Plus a damage spike in hypercharge when you pop that super. It's strong, but you are dealing with a very tanky, very mobile composition here from Reply Totem. So as usual, we expect Crazy Raccoon's mechanics, they'll have to be on point.
I mean, the thing is as well, not only have they got the max speed, they've got the hypercharge speed coming in from Rosarella. If you pair both of those up, oh my God. She's going to be cruising. She's going to be cruising towards the opposing team, and with the slowing value around her as well, it's going to be solid. But he's actually brought in some more bushes. Row Light is going to be the star power of choice instead of that unfriendly bushes.
Tensai, as we expected in the mid there, as the powerful side laners of Spike and Sandy go at it with their opposite numbers. Mori, though, wins out against the Sandy. Tensai and Moya look to back away as Joker gets picked up by the shockwave. Mori will hope to threaten here, lurk on that right-hand side, but Shitapo's back off spawn, and he'll collect that ball.
Maru the Bear, though, and Faux Fur used as well to get the shield activated onto it. Moya going to come forward, but not going to find anything against Maru here. The Bear doing so much work. Tensai's got the knock, but he goes down as well. No stun defense, and Reply Totem carry on from the previous set.
Draft is disgusting. We're talking about how durable this Reply Totem is, and then the Faux Fur Bear on top of that. That's 3 tanky brawlers and a max versus 3. That's gross. Maru here tries to step forward, will be brought down though, as the Sandstorm dissipates a player advantage for CR.
Yeah, Joker's going to be able to get that dash with a sweet that. Tampo sends him to sleep and puts him down. Tensai getting into the forwards with a hypercharge, but Maru's got the defense cycled out. And CR have the answer to the Rosa. 1-1.
Not just that, but look at the supers they built in that fight. They are ready to go off the rip once more. Tensai comes in, disengaged, shockwave combo. Maru, though, gonna pop that hypercharge, and Shitapo can't do anything about it. Only the trade, though, the use of that ability, that's a hefty price to pay. And Joker walks into Tensai now. It's up to Mori to hold the door.
It's well enough to be able to survive this one out there, but Moya has this super, and Maru's not going to like the look of that. Just gets on the edge of it, slowed down for a little while. But Joe comes back in, pass to the right.
Nice.
So low, Maori. He gets Tensai down. Bear coming in, 2 gadgets. Should surely follow. It's a 1v1, and Maori's duking well.
Leave the ball cornered for the time being as Reply Totem not at their full strength for the time being. Tatampo having to expend shots on that bear. Buys Mori a lot of space on this right-hand side. Spike super available here. With that hypercharge, keep an eye on it here as we head into the last 25.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind this overtime for Totem as long as they've got a speed and as long as Shitambo doesn't have the super. There is that hypercharge super from Moya, but no value. Wasted super, wasted hypercharge starting from square one, heading into this overtime. Maru taking some fire though, doesn't want to feed Shitambo before this clock hits 0.
This overtime look for Reply Totem is a bit frightening, I'm not going to lie to you. So much more also there in spades. Here we go. The barrier's come down and Maru's out in the open. Gets brought down very, very low. Sandstorm is huge now. Crazy Raccoon cannon on the cover of the swirling sands. Ball still caught it, but Mori might be in trouble here. That shot didn't quite connect from Tensai, but eventually they bring the Nina down. Mori tries to step forward with a shot. Back in 3 versus 1. And Crazy Raccoon, they're hungry. Blood in the water as Tatampo will walk it in.
Match point for Crazy Raccoon coming up next. Reply Totem start well, but Crazy Raccoon has the answer to what they were bringing to the table. Maisie doing God's work there, up the top of the field, getting slows, getting double hits, getting the hypercharge through as well. And Crazy Raccoon moving into a great spot.
Definitely felt like they initially were a little shell-shocked, right? The faux fur maybe caught them off guard. There were so many things to be shooting at, but eventually the power of this composition, how effective Sandy can be, Maisie just being unreal right now on attack and on defense. Crazy Raccoon are steps away from a semi-final berth, and once again eliminating Reply Totem from an international tournament.
Well, CR in a good spot to deal some damage now, but Totem gets this super. Going to be able to use that, and all the grass being built by Maru is going to be so helpful for them. Mori moving forward in a good position to deal some burst damage. But Moya relieves some pressure now he gets this super. Clearly hit a good amount of shots here, and Maru focusing around this left. I think there was a Sweet Dreams miss there as well, but Tensai coming forward with a good super. And now the aggressive push surely should be a goal. Pass to the left, and Tensai going to slot it in. He actually missed the ball, but just gets it in with the help of the super.
It's unclear what Tensai, if he's trying to like very quickly pick the ball up and super shot or use that super. Either way, they managed to get what they came for there. Keep Maru low on HP and blow Joker up in the middle seems to be the strategy. Here comes the Max. He wants to go with the phase shifter, but the shockwave says no.
Just Mori defending this one out now. 1 goal between Crazy Raccoon in the semi-finals. Reply Totem looking good on this defense though. Mori holding off well, but Shitampo 1 super and this could all be over. Tensai has his, just looking for the hypercharge. Moya, hypercharge in hand already. Super's there. Tensai gets his stun on Joker as well. Shitampo's going to get the kill. Moving forward, CR going to get to Reply Totem out of there. Maru double knocked, and Crazy Raccoon move on.
Once again, the East Asian region rear their head and say, we'll be taking a spot in the semi-finals. 1 set dropped here, and in fairness, they looked a little bit shaky, but outside of that, absolutely squeaky clean. And again, a year on, once more, Reply Totem must succumb to the kings of Brawl.
Crazy Raccoon on a collision course with every single European team at the moment, and knocking them out one by one. Footy Sports yesterday, Reply Totem today, and maybe Zeta Division next.
Oh, imagine that. Zeta Division again, getting to speak to them. They said, we are definitely concerned about the prospect of going up against Crazy Raccoon in the semi-finals, but they expected to have to do so, as did we. As much as we enjoy Reply Totem here, Crazy Raccoon have looked to be on another level. Nobody really sees any reason to doubt them. Shitampo chasing his 2nd World Championship. Tensai chasing his 3rd. This team are absolutely stacked and they're ready to run the gauntlet through the competition. Let's have a look back through this series.
Wanna fight the Fang?
Legendary.
Like not grabbing the ball, but managed to recover, get that super off and get the knockback anyway.
Unbelievably powerful. It's just those final moments here again as Maru forced back once more, and even that durability of strong stuff is just it's just not enough, you know. Another day at the office, it almost feels like for Tensai there as he takes his headset off. 11 eliminations for him. Joker and Maori both really having a nightmare of a round. Yeah, tanky as they were, they did not have the damage output to force Crazy Raccoon back to their own side of the map.
Tough there for Reply Totem, yet again knocked out in the quarterfinals by the East Asian boys. Really tough for them, but you know, all the European teams have had really big issues with this roster, and I feel like, you know, the mechanics are just too strong, and I think they are the big favorites after the 3 games we've watched them play throughout the World Finals to take it all.
And I do want to wonder, like, in terms of your Reply Totem's prep, we see them play a fair bit more max here. Prior to this game, we're saying, oh, it's only really LG and CR that are trying to do this. I wonder to what degree they're kind of being forced into certain draft patterns that then Crazy Raccoon feel comfortable enough trying to exploit. It's not like picking max is a detriment to your team, right? But we've seen teams up until this point just go away from it. There's been no point. You either, you know, you don't ban it, but against Crazy Raccoon, you don't want to waste a ban slot on the max. In some senses, you say, right, well, they're going to leave it till last pick. We know that, so we have to pick it up ourselves and try and make it work. Maybe on the fly, adjust our strategy to account for that. Let's talk MVP here, Trav. Quite a few candidates here. I really think a few of these Crazy Raccoon guys on separate maps were able to really shine here, especially based on some of those compositions. Tensai still looked incredible here. I feel like when we got to see the Meg from Shitampa was incredible. Yeah, Tensai, your MVP here in this match.
And I think thoroughly deserved as well. All 3 of those guys played so well. But I mean, Tensai definitely showing his worth in some of those later game modes. Brawl specifically played that one really, really well and was, you know, the cause of a few of the goals.
Yeah, and again, played into some tough matchup, right? On that gem grab map, he's on the Rosa playing like a fairly long side lane there and is honestly just getting leapt upon time and time again. But he's like, fine, I bring the utility. Comes off spawn, uses unfriendly bushes, gets information, slows people down, and is able just to leap upon them before they can get back towards the middle part of the map. That's just one piece of what Tensai is able to offer to this Crazy Raccoon team, and it's no surprise that he's now chasing his 3rd World Championship here in Brawl Stars. Trav, this game at the top level for many years has been dominated by East Asia. Is there anybody left still who you think can stand up to them?
I mean, I think the boys up next. I think STMN are one of the only teams who are probably going to be able to do so. Same with Tribe Gaming, maybe down the bottom, and SK Gaming as well, but they've quickly dealt with quite a few EU teams, so I've put my faith in the NA boys because we've had quite a good few matchups as well for those NA teams, and they've really proved themselves.
Let's have a look at the bracket once more and get you reoriented now as we head into our next quarterfinal game. We obviously had Zeta Division claim victory over Luminosity Gaming in a nail biter. Didn't get any closer than that. Crazy Raccoon, we just saw take down Reply Totem. Signs of life from EMEA's number 2 seed, but not enough. Coming up next, though, STMN Esports versus Revenant Esports. Trav, give me your cliff notes on this one. How are you feeling?
I mean, it is a big game. I think we know who the heavy favorites are. STMN Esports played so well yesterday throughout their groups, managed to just really deal some huge damage to those teams that they did face. But Revenant Esports, on the other hand, you know, coming through in that seed number 2, they had some issues. They struggled against Luminosity, and yeah, Luminosity proved themselves today. They went double match point against the Titans of Zeta. But I think at the same time, STMN have got to be the boys to come out on top.
No doubt about it, Revenant, that Group A ended up being a lot more hotly contested than we thought. And that's the question, have Revenant been able to make use of that gauntlet, that baptism of fire here at LAN? Because STMN, they love the sharpshooters. Bobby looking great. Sands, incredible so far. I'm looking forward to seeing how fresh-faced they are today. Let's bring them out on the stage. Frankie will assist in that regard.
I will assist as well as I can, hopefully with DreamHack Winter to help me out as we welcome on our next 2 teams. First of all, from North America, please welcome STMN! This team battled through tough competition to top Group C, but they have so much experience on their side, and Sans, the newcomer, who looks like he's been doing this the whole time, his whole life. their opponents. Making history for India today, it's Revenant Esports! This is a team that breathed a sigh of relief after beating BC Gaming to make it to the playoffs. They grabbed these opportunities by their hands and they did not let go. But will it be enough to get them through to the semi-final? DreamHack Winter. These teams hear you! I like it, I like it. Let's head over to Suit Corner to cast this one with Arc and Uber.
Thank you, Frankie. That's right. It might be one of NA's greatest hopes here at Worlds. They had such a great start out of group 6-0 for these North American rosters. Heartbreak for Luminosity. So that's one scratched off the list. Still two more to go. And STMN, they had a pretty nice run through groups. They really wowed us on multiple occasions, Ark.
A very clean run, but they were 3-2s along the way, so some close matches. Whereas on the other side, Revenant, had that close one against BC Gaming to finalize things, and that loss as well. I'm sure they took a lot of learnings off the back of that, but this is their best performance to date already. So they've already made fantastic progress as an organization, as players, but this is definitely their biggest challenge yet.
Sergeant Class made it very clear. He says, for us, it's a grand final berth or nothing. And so we want to place at least top two at this tournament. Anything else will be considered a failure. Well, there's one big step in their way and one huge obstacle. That is the juggernaut of STMN. A team that flies high on emotions, on momentum. They make use of that early success in the series to try and close it out, but quite often they can be slow to start. If a team like Revenant can come out the gate swinging, catch them off guard, we might be in another interesting situation, another close series perhaps.
And very similar play styles as well. You got Sergeant on that Piper, you got Bobby on that Piper. Both sides are going to be squabbling for the scraps in that regard. And I've got to be honest though, I've put STMN down to take it all today. I am fully with NA hope. I am down with it. A little bit of a teaser there. We sort of covered the lower half of our predictions in that regard, but I've got some very, very high hopes for STMN. But at their very best, I feel like they are the team to lift the gold. When they are slow and sluggish to start getting into the rhythm, that's when I worry for STMN, and that can crumble and the cards can topple. I'm hoping for them today, though, that they put some of those ideas to rest. I want to see Zara pop off, Bobby, as well as Sands, who, in my opinion, has been their MVP so far in this competition.
Now, STMN have been going for a lot of utility brawlers to play around the Piper, the sharpshooter presence here. STMN, though, probably based on pick order, say, well, we don't want to give that over to Sergeant. I want to point out the Eve ban here. That's something that we've seen Sands get a lot of value out, as well as Zara. They've been passing that back and forth between them here. Shooting Star is definitely a map where you can find some value, but the Gene locked away first here for Revenant Esports. Pretty clear what the game plan is here.
Oh, Revenant wanted Piper. No doubt in my mind about it. The bans say it all. They ban the Eve, they ban the Mr. P for the hope that STMN leave it open, and they don't. So already they're forced to kind of reconsider their drafting process. But that Gene we've seen in time and time again for Revenant can bring home some absolute goods. Meg going to come in for STMN. The Mandy, for me, I would have sneered down on it until I saw Bobby on it the other day in Bounty, and it really did knock me for 6.
We just saw Crazy Raccoon play a very similar composition on Bounty. The problem for them was that if they couldn't get value out of the Mandy and they fell behind in Stars, they needed to have the Meg in mech, otherwise they could not run up their map, they could not chase. Playing from behind can be a real problem with this composition. STMN need to get out to the early lead. They must not get Gene pulled in.
And we also saw how instrumental that Sprout pick was for Reply Totem. And Revenant aren't going to have the luxury of having that last pick. So STMN, if it does come out of the woodwork, can counter it. But 8-bit, for me, is a fantastic brawler to have on your field. Obviously, it is going to be a little bit slow and sluggish and can then open up the door to some vulnerabilities along the way. But I feel like it does really pack a punch. And it's one of those more overlooked brawlers when it comes to a map like Shooting Star.
I feel as well, you can trade damage relatively effectively against that Meg when she's in mech. And oh my goodness, the Grey gets brought in here now. Dimensional Door smacks of all-in potential. You have multiple mechanisms for which to create opportunities for picks, right? You have the gene pool, you also have the repositioning. Even the walking cane can give you an opportunity if you're able to line someone up here. I like it for Revenant, but it's pretty telegraphed as to when they want to try and go for those stars, for those eliminations. And hey, let's go for another sharpshooter. Bell picked up.
I think the bell is going to work really, really nicely into that 8-bit, and of course the Mark probably likely to try to land on that Genie, trying to eradicate that magic hand from the mix. But again, I think for 8-bit, it's not going to be as easy now, and not as smooth sailings as it was going to be otherwise. And certainly, I feel the Meg is a risky affair. I know that Trav is really not on the Meg bandwagon right now, but ultimately, it can have that ability to really force the hand back into those spawn sides and inflict a lot of pressure on your opposition.
I mean, if you can make that much space for your sharpshooters, it's almost impossible to lose. That's really what Sans is going to look to do here. Trade some health and potentially the mech here for the Blue Star. Okay, Walking Cane comes in, but all of a sudden, attention turned in Sergeant's direction. He's one tap away from getting picked off, and Sans says, no mech, no problem. We got Blue Star, and we got 2 extra.
Yeah, a little bit overzealous there for me from Sergeant's side. It was 1v2. It was never going to be going his way. Let's see what Response can achieve here. Looking for the Walking Cane connection now, coming around, just trying to get a couple of taps along the way. But it is, again, that Blue Star that could be instrumental towards the end. 3-star lead so far for STMN, and Trishan not having a great time on that left-hand side lane. Are starting to tap.
Bobby getting drawn in there, but still able to win the fight out against Sergeant. Response will use another Walking Cane to secure that elimination. Still a 2-star Blue Star lead here for STMN, and the Mark goes in onto the 8-bit.
Now the plugged-in star power for Trishard will provide that additional maneuverability, and STMN find themselves in that back spawn side as Revenant just sort of gearing things up. If they get Sergeant to gain super, then things dangerous. But he goes down. 7 stars over to STMN.
Sans just jumps back in the mech. Now it's the power play for STMN. A chance to move up the map here. Response, yeah, has Dimensional Door. He might go in for an assassination attempt here, but there's no good targets. The Blue Star is on the Meg, but she has the least number of stars at 2. Not many great opportunities here for Revenant. They're going to come forward regardless now. Make use of this gene pool. This could be big.
Sergeant finds Sans, it'll be huge, but Sans has got gadget, his availability as well. That toolbox might come back as the only thing in favor for Revenant. Let's see those 25 seconds fast approaching on the clock. Can Revenant find the space and find these connections?
Bobby there had the slow gadget ready for a potential engage, but eventually he has to use it anyway. Response still has the chance to close the gap with that Dimensional Door, but Sergeant slow. He draws Sans in. He gives his life up for it. Response now trying to get away through the door of his own, but he comes off second best, and that mark means Trishard is easy prey.
Zar was on a slither of HP but stays alive, and that's going to bring STMN the first win of today.
Not close. Not remotely close here. Again, it kind of played out as we expected. The Meg moves up the map and says, hey, I'm going to get this Blue Star one way or another. Then Sergeant wants to fight them. He wants to opt into a 1v2. Sans collapses, and then you have a 3-star lead with a Meg that's made so much space, and your sharpshooters can go to work. You have nest eggs in mid. You have the slowing gadget for Mandy. You have so many things to keep people off. You have to try and full-on engage.
This is the issue with Revenant. They are a super aggressive team, but STMN are equally so, but they've got that ability to really time their runs, and look at this, it's already 7 stars. STMN have got that perfect balance between aggression and defense.
Shield gear disengaged there from Response. Tons of poke damages. Bobby's able to stay alive. The Sugar Ray not quite finding the mark. Response is just able to get away with a tick from those magic puffs to keep them standing. A mark on Trishard, almost a second thrown in from Zar, dominating the 8-bit, keeping that huge source of damage out of the fight, and Bobby gets another one. This is not good enough for Revenant.
Huge taps from Bobby. Response still going on the aggressiveness. It's 2 versus 1. Tries to land the Walking Cane, not going to have it. Sergeant's got to land this pull and bring something home. Trying to equal out the scoreline. Well, there's the first sign of it. Trishard tries, oh my word, that's not a great pull.
They need a Bobby so badly there. Bobby outranging it pretty comfortably. Sans now has the time to get some health back. Can't quite get in the mech, so some more stars handed over, but it's traded every time. Zar goes down. 3-star lead for STMN. The gap is closing, but they come back, and there's a Meg in mech.
It's a good lead, but the time is with Revenant. They got a good hold on the mid. Zar, what a mark there onto Response. He's got to heal up and then be more mobile, but look at this, the slow onto Trishard. Leaves him a walking target. Great pull though. It's only a 3-star differential.
They need Bobby. They need Bobby. 5 stars sitting on that Mandy right now arc. Response again marked up, so the all-in potential for Grey seriously diminished. Zar more than happy, I think, to trade some taps here as Sans tries to burn through this damage amp. 14 seconds left in the round now, and Grey still out of the fight. He needs to try and get in, but survive with that mark on him. Great collapse onto Sans now. It's a star lead for Revenant Esports here. Bobby trying to stay alive, but they need more. STMN traded back. They go to 18. 2 more, and that would be enough. They hang on and close out the set.
Some final trades that really did land it for the set. And STMN hold firm. It didn't look quite as clean though as that previous game. Nonetheless, a set is a set. And Revenant were just a bit slow to the mark. And we were discussing coming into this match, you know, have STMN adapted from their old ways of losing those first sets? Well, if that's anything to go by, I think that is how you start Championship Sunday.
It's crazy how much that map was really dictated by the bell mark here. I mean, if you aren't picking sharpshooters and you want a hard engaged composition, that's totally fine. But when Gray, normally the one that goes forward, gets marked up, he just disintegrates under the smallest bit of scrutiny. You can see how it plays out here. Sand's getting full value out of the mech. Trishard often forced to play right on back. He can't come forward at all. Zar, not normally the designated sharpshooter here, looked unbelievable on the bell.
This is the thing for me, you know, Bobby and Sans are already the flashiest players on this squad. And Zar, when he pops off, it is a sight of sheer beauty. It really, really is. But he has been a bit coy, a little bit timid this year towards the end. And coming into his own now, I think that is a really nice way to start for him.
Zar's been playing a lot of Mr. P and a lot of Eve, right? So a little bit more utility and sort of more consistent damage brawlers. Outside of the flashy, the burst damage ones here, normally reserved for Bobby, as you can probably understand, but great showing from him. And again, 370 DPS, pure consistency from Bell, who obviously doesn't have the greatest fire rate. And again, makes it hard to close the gap with those nest eggs here. Really impressive showing from STMN, but this is their playbook. This is not surprising from them. It's such a straightforward comp, and it's something that we'll see Crazy Raccoon also go for here. And if you can't hit those gene pools, a couple of those crucially missing, Bobby knows to the pixel how far back to stand from Sergeant Clash in a couple of those occasions, and he baits those supers out.
Yeah, for me, Revenant as well. I've got to rethink things just a little bit. Maybe underestimating STMN in that regard. And for Hot Zone, he's got to find that perfect balance between going on that aggressive, but also trying to land the pressure, trying to keep STMN on those backlines and low HP and buy down the clock in their favor. But ultimately, the draft as well is where STMN feel like, to me, they've got a good handle on things. They kind of read Revenant Esports pretty well so far. Can they continue to do that in this next draft?
This Revenant team, they're skilled, right? Skilled and scrappy, but the polish of STMN Esports is hard to put a scratch on in so many of these instances. STMN are so drilled in their protocols when it comes to draft, when it comes to how to deal with a star lead, a star deficit there on Bounty. And Ring of Fire are expected to be much the same. This is a map that really is governed by an overarching game plan. Here the bans, of course, Pam taken away. No one wants to deal with that. Lou also out of the picture. Rosa and Buster. No tanks, say STMN.
I think there's some really good bans here for STMN. Pam, Lou, brawlers that I've been complaining about all weekend long on Hot Zone specifically, and for good reason. I mean, you know, Lou is just going to have that insta-stun, and that is just something that STMN do not want to run
That's
with.
my boy.
The Tribe buff sitting in the audience there, waiting for the later stages of our next match.
Magic seems like the only missing piece from the Tribe Nation, right? Just to really take the decibel level up to 11. So, great addition there, guys. Very clever signing. Look forward to seeing him in the red. All right, here's Bell coming up for STMN Esports again. We just know how powerful she is on this map. Get control of mid, leave a bunch of traps in your wake, and it is dangerous to step up.
It's going to be really nice to have ultimately into that Lola as well. Those shots are going to ricochet and then just trickle down the HP over time. But they're lacking that aggressive spike for those lane sides. Really quite like that. But you know, for the reason that it's going to be good into Stu, and Stu is that kind of more you know, lane side, skip around the whole thing and try to assert authority. But I'd like to see a Tara come into play as a result of that spike pick now, because Stu's going to be off the cards now a little bit for Revenant.
Yeah, absolutely. Often we see Stu just try to ignore the topography of the map and go in for a lot of those kills for his spike. Obviously, the life plan is huge. And, you know, you play from that right-hand side. Behind those 3 bowling pins there, just get consistent damage. And, of course, that super can cover so much of the hot zone. Mr. P comes up for Revenant Esports. Not the first time we've seen this brawler picked on Ring of Fire. I would say middling success at times. We know how powerful he can be playing from behind that wall. And the porters are annoying for single-shot brawlers here, of which STMN have a few. We'll see how it pays out.
A brawler which STMN really love to have for themselves, actually, so that could be part of the
Zar classic.
Yeah, it really has been all weekend long. Let's see how they want to finalize things. They're lacking the aggressor still, and that for me is the glaringly obvious sign for this third and final pick. Cordelius, I don't mind that one at all. I prefer to a Centaura, but I mean, ultimately, if STMN want to bring in a final pick tank now, they're going to be reconsidering.
Absolutely. So many of those tanks banned, so not a lot of good ones left, if I'm honest with you. Can he play Meg here?
is something that they could consider doing. It's going to be really kind of hazardous with that Cordelius, who can just effectively bring you into the realm from that middle little pocket. I mean, you know, getting you off the objective, having no time there, and Meg has that kind of larger HP, larger, you know, hitbox. Jesse, for me, I think I quite like. It's going to be very slow to gain hypercharge, but the Colette ban means that they're kind of forced to consider something like that. 2 hypercharges on the side of STMN to the 0 on the side of Revenant. That's a scary prospect here for me.
Very control-oriented composition now for STMN. We've seen on Kaboom Canyon. Teams try and bring that Jesse in here because they refuse to give up control of that middle grassy area. Not much different here on Ring of Fire. It's really about keeping Scrappy nice and healthy and having fire off shots to demand attention. And of course, under hypercharge, Scrappy becomes a completely different beast here. Great start for STMN in this series so far. Convincing win in the end on Bounty. Let's head now to Ring of Fire.
Well, Sergeant lurk in this left-hand side. Lovely little gadget jump in, and now in a very good spot. Aggressing Bobby gets the takedown as well. Can he find Zar? Low HP for him, though, and probably going to have to come back a little now. This curveball to be hard to juke, and Sands finds the pinch.
Finally, they get rid of the Cordelius here. Zar very quickly wants to take bush control here. He doesn't want to allow that to happen once more. Once Cordelius gets up behind those bowling pins, he's very scary. Bobby down, no Trishard, really holding his own in mid. Eventually has to be traded out. The response now wants to chase Sands. That Jesse is dead and buried.
I'm loving this from Revenant. Sergeant forcing more into the realm, but Bobby stays firm and lands the tap, and now very much on things. Marking up to shot with 3 follow-up zaps. Bobby popping off.
Response though plays forward here. Annoying position for Mr. P to beat in, but Sands forces him back. Now, can set up a Scrappy here. 2 nest eggs on the point. Yeah, it's going to be tough for Revenant to get back in. Here come the Porters now. On that left-hand side, Dulia with a lifeblood. Here's Zar just leaving some catnip for them on the left. Response gets caught in that super for a time, but it's not enough to be followed up upon. A very close game now as Revenant draw even.
Trishard pops the nest egg and will go down, leaving Sergeant in a 2 versus 2 scenario here. Bobby and Sands both landing things. They've got to get back on the zone now to bring things to tie. Response to the left-hand side.
Good.
He's going to go down so easily here, and now we're tied game.
A pinch from Bobby to the left-hand side, knowing that Zar needed help against the Porters, and they get the Brawler elimination to boot. That is just next-level mind link here. No connection of the mark there on response. Sergeant trying to step up here. Sands with a turret, but not real good opportunity to set it up. A nest egg eaten by Trishard at a good time, to be fair. Take it away when there's no risk of getting picked off instantly. Now have to dodge the taps, and Bobby wasn't born yesterday, my guy.
Oh, Sergeant just gets over that left-hand side just in the nick of time as well. But now, look at this, 75% in closing. Revenant needs to get on the zone right now. They've only got 20% left of time. Sergeant forces Zara into the realm, but Bobby is the person they've got to get off the zone, and he's still there.
He will not be shifted. A mark on the Sergeant here. Just one shot would do it. Response goes to 28. Bobby almost in 1v2 territory there. STMN have to wait. Here comes Sands. Would like to build a Scrappy up, I'm sure of it. Trying to go the old-fashioned way with some of these shots. And that's a big old turret on the point here. STMN say, this is our house.
Sands couldn't have got hypercharge at any better time.
Or any later, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, it took a while, but when it was there, it was what won the game as Revenant were clawing things back, and I was worried for STMN. That's the best showing we've seen so far from Revenant, and that gives me a little bit of hope.
Draft is good. I think the Cordelius is really scary to deal with, and like you said, he can use his super from safe territory, right? Take someone out of the game, make it impossible for them to contest. And then Mr. P, constantly a nuisance over the course of that round.
Good aggression so far from Bobby on shots in the mid, but look at Sergeant again, really utilising these early gadgets to try to get these trades, and the right-hand side Sands will fall. It's just Zar on the mid now, but he's doing a pretty decent job. Life plant to keep him in the mix, and now all eyes on response to clear up that right-hand side.
Clever rotation into mid there by Zar with 2 teammates down. He keeps STMN within striking distance in percentage. He'll go down. Oh, the trade avoided there by Sergeant Sands. Oh, goodness, that could have been ugly. Sergeant doesn't quite get the 1 versus 2, but STMN are crippled at the moment.
Revenant Esports know that the early game really does favour them, and just exacerbating the Cordelius early on is going to be risky in the late game, but very good for them in the early game. There it is again. One more gadget, I believe, available for Sergeant. He might find Bobby. Bobby comes out on top. Lands a tap to Trishard, and now all 3 members of STMN pushing the zone.
Got to convert this, though, into a percentage lead. Revenant have been all over the point for so much of this round. The mark was great for Bobby Sands, easily able to follow up on that damage, but again, Sergeant Clash is such a problem. Bobby lines him up, but again, we're at 69% almost and counting. Revenant Esports have such a healthy lead.
But now this is where STMN can really start to thrive. Strashant is marked up, and look at the ricochet in there between Response and Sergeant. Now approaching 40, and STMN are still looking pretty good. Sergeant, though, if he makes a play here into the zone, Bobby forced into the realm here. Zorro as well. Sergeant is just going to go super aggro here. Finds Bobby, Zar on the way out. Hypercharge popped in, Zar still standing.
And he's what? A super from Zar. Able to 1v2 the life plant, not even required. And from here, STMN can build their comeback. Another mark connecting onto Lola Trishard, a non-factor on that spawn. Sergeant taking a ton of poke damage as well as Response can only look on and play from medium range.
STMN know that they cannot take any chances. They brought it back for a head game. Only 20% now remaining. Bobby Lowe, though, forced out of the position.
The life plant.
Revenant can bring this back.
Trishard now wants to move up. Revenant at 85 and counting. STMN behind once more. Santa's going to go with the hypercharge. Throws down the Scrappy. Good amount of health here, and they do force Revenant away. Bobby comes out of the Shadow Realm on top, though now 2 versus 2 as Trishard is low as he gets 91 and counting. Response was hoping for more, but STMN now get themselves a lead. Sergeant steps up, will have to 1v2, but Sans says no, he's traded. And STMN, that's 2 on the trot.
I'd have to see it back, but if Sergeant landed the round there, I think it may have gone the way of Revenant. Very close to call, but nonetheless, STMN put in the work. The insurance policy was there, the set is theirs.
We said it already, Revenant are scrappy. They're very skilled players, and their draft, frankly, was excellent. We saw a much more controlling setup from STMN, but when Bobby gets Bell, well, actually, don't let it get to that point. Don't let it get to that point. Incredibly, incredibly effective. The nest eggs yield insta-kill opportunities in so many cases, and Bobby doesn't miss these marks. He just doesn't. Able to cycle his super in some of these occasions onto multiple targets as he brings them down. The extra durability from positive feedback. Bell is an absolute menace in his hands.
Yeah, STMN have got to be feeling good about their odds at the moment, but they can't get ahead of themselves. We've seen it time and time again, giving your opposition even just a glimmer, a glimpse of momentum, and everything can turn, everything can shift. So far, so good for them, but one singular draft out and then things can go wrong. So certainly in this downtime, they're going to be discussing things moving forwards and just ensuring that everything's kept in that right place.
I just want to point out, though, that this is an STMN esports that start strong in a series. That's always a good sign. Normally, they have to kind of bring it back later on in the day. The spike was good when the life
realm. He had it.
He did, yeah.
If he'd managed to land that Dark Realm onto Sans, he'd be off the objective and there were teammates respawning in. That could have been amazingly clutch, but it wasn't to be.
Very, very close, though, in the end. A huge lead. Let's not forget it was like a 50-odd% lead built up. Sans, 13 eliminations. 13!
Save some for the rest of them, Sans. Come on, you're always stealing the show when it comes to the stats. But nonetheless, I do feel like we are seeing STMN really working well as an overall unit. And that's kind of where things are lacking on the side of Revenant in this next set. They've got to get their comms flowing because their World Finals journey for India, their home region, could be ending here.
And Mr. P got picked up there by Revenant. We've seen it be effective in some cases, but those spawners not great against Bell. Just hit one of those porters and then the spawner often gets hit very, very hard. Have that bounce around on the enemy side of the map. We digress. We're back to Brawl Ball here once more. Seen quite a few looks on this map. Heavy stun compositions. Of course, the Sandy will be hotly contested through this draft. And this is the last chance for Revenant to show the world what they can do.
The pressure mounting with them, no doubt about it. They need to get this set, and that could well be all they need just to give themselves that boost and show and prove to us and to the world that they can take NA all the way. But a lot is riding on this, and sometimes that pressure, that tension can get the better of people. Looking for a loot band, it is there on the side of Revenant. Cordelius, though, still available. Willow Band, Barley, and the Dynamite triple thrower for STMN. They want to eradicate the control-based game first. Pick a spike, very safe idea. A good tank counter, of course, and the hypercharge, devastating. But that Sandy ban, I've got to say, it's really quite an underrated one. We've seen Sandy have such a high win rate. So that, combined with the loot and then the Charlie as well, it's a good starting hand for Revenant.
Maisie is available, though. That's something we've seen teams really look to try and bring in that previous series. We saw a very tanky comp from Totem. The Nita, the Rosa, who might add is available. They brought her in with Grow Light as well. Just given the way the map is a little bit less sparse, more sparse rather. There's Maisie picked up by Revenant.
Love that from you, Uber. I mean, it's just a brawler that I've warmed to a great deal. I was very much on the fence regarding her, but it's just got a great hypercharge to cycle in here. But I'm really warming to Max. You know, a brawler that really wasn't really on anyone's minds coming into the World Finals, whereas now, you know, Reply Totem bringing it in, Crazy Raccoon, of course, bringing it in. I kind of wonder whether we might see it come in for SD.
Just another case of the West taking trends from East Asia, whether it's culture, fashion, or drafting in Brawl Stars. We tend to follow their lead. So the Nita comes in once more here. Revenant have a similar idea. Of course, that faux fur on the bear makes it effectively a fourth brawler, and it's really frustrating to have to waste that ammo, especially if you're a spike, right? Like, you are a single-shot brawler. STMN might consider a way to get around this, but it's not as if it's as easy as dealing with Tara's, you know, help from Beyond. Like, you can't just get an AoE brawler and be happy with that. Cordelius, though, I love it. It's been so powerful and stewed around things out. Okay, hyper mobile, hyper aggressive, with the spike really being that point of consistency, the rock here in a side lane for STMN.
I wonder if it's going to be Gale. Just, I mean, normally you see the speed zone with Stu, and if that is the case, then there'll be no wall break. But ultimately, if they do see the Gale, they could then change that gadget going in. Buster, ooh, that's actually quite a tasty one for me from Revenant. Again, the Cordelius is going to have a relatively decent matchup into it and forcing it into the realm, but you know, you can do the same with Nita as well. The Cordelius for me is probably my favorite pick actually on the side of STMN.
Look, I like the Buster because once again that gadget has proven to be so powerful. Slow-mo replay, very important to stop mobile brawlers in their tracks, or at least sort of divert them. We've seen it against tank compositions, right? You know, against Daryl's, for example, just tug him out of the way, make sure he can't get to your squishy brawlers. And also against Stu, right? Yank him on in, stun him up for just a moment, long enough. Just got to hold Stu in place for long enough to get rid of him. But Stu, the room for individual skill expression is unreal, and that's what I'm looking for from Bobby. He's delivered so far this weekend.
For me, the bust is a great kind of, oh, here we go. Can this be a walk-in? It's a very early goal. 14 seconds on the clock. STMN went a bit over-aggressive there. They dropped the ball.
Well, we didn't have the DPS. I think he's able to finally get Sergeant, but the ball had already been sent off there. Zar, a non-factor in that last push. Here's Trishant into the Shadow Realm now for Sands, who just wants to make sure he won't be snapping that ball up anytime soon.
Looking for Sands to see him go on the aggressive hit. Trishant very quickly taken care of. He did earn Bear, though, before he went down, so that will certainly be there for this defense. And it's going to have to be a good one at that, as
Sergeant
very, very low here.
Oh, no.
Yep, easily gone down for the curveball, and Bobby tries to find the angle. Can't get the goal, but the ball's still there. Response to come in and just try and deflate this push.
Yeah, pretty frustrating for STMN. The Bear timing pretty good here from Trishant. You really feel like they were looking to convert that 3 versus 2 into a goal. Bobby with some wall break here. He wants to deny Nita these safe havens across the map.
Ball pushed firmly into the corner there by Response. Sergeant coming forward, has the hypercharge, but looking now for the super as well. And Sands trying to get the upper hand, and does so in a really nice manner. Trishant, though, going to be able to get a Bear maybe off the back of this. One shot away from it. Response is the last man standing, but that ball there just firmly in the corner of Response, and Revenant just all playing defense.
It's really in a safe spot here for Revenant right now. They'd have to suffer a crippling team wipe in their own territory to be under great threat. But here it comes, this might be it. Super thrown out under hypercharge there by Zar. Response just really just walking inside that. Patrick can't get out. We're going to cycle supers now as that ball finds its home.
Beautiful cycling there. It really, really was. And again,
walking around in circles inside that.
Zal played a wonderful offense there, and STMN all tied up. Bobic using that gassy hill to keep himself in the mix, but Sergeant coming in with the hypercharge. Sands forcing him into the realm, but it's a 1v1 in the meanwhile for Trishant and Zar, and it's going to be a Revenant Esports game.
Sands took himself off the map. They were in a 2 versus 3, and he took someone in the Shadow Realm, leaving one defender left for STMN. Crucial error there in the final moments. Love the play from the Maisie. Dash forward, you see a low health target behind an unbreakable wall. You know your shockwave can secure the elimination, give you a brawler advantage, and then you look to capitalize.
One more game away for a set for Revenant. And again, that would be a monumental lift here. Look at his early response with the gadget as well. It's almost a goal. The ball trickling on the line. It's not over. Coming in. It's going to be able to walk it. That's another goal in the first opening 20 seconds.
Dangerous, such a powerful high damage composition if Revenant can get close to STMN. And so they did. Bobby trying to keep his distance here from Sergeant, who lines Sands up and brings him down. Response is more than happy to take this damage. They also get a free super out of Zar. They'll take that happily.
STMN are on borrowed time here now. The Bear coming in from the left-hand side, and the chaos in the mid. Sergeant there with huge explosions, and that is another goal. And most important, importantly, the set for Revenant.
Maisie is too good. You have to have a plan. If you leave her open in picks and bans, you need a way to mitigate her flexibility. She is so good getting in people's faces, and also with that mid to long range damage. They need to look good as well. Here's the problem.
My foot, your face. It's on.
Super Rare.
This is so lame.
Revenant had to walk into it to defend. That was very, very powerful. But he could see, look, just dash forward. Yeah, Trishan, it doesn't bother. I mean, Sands is able to take him down, but he draws him out of position. Sands gets knocked back by the shockwave into his own goals. It damages you from behind walls. It forces you back. With Hypercharge, it also has it fires off your projectiles in all directions. It's disgusting. It's so good. So with a ungodly amount of DPS here, but again, it's against Anita half the time.
Yeah, I'm not really convinced that SCMN would have been looking back at that draft and feeling good about it. I think they made a couple of errors along the way. I mean, certain brawlers just kind of escaping through the mix. When that Sandy band is there, the Buster is
packing. Zulon's looking for it. No connection just yet. Ope forced to super straight up into the poison too, taking devastating damage from Tyrant, who looks to close it out. An emergency gadget from iChaos, and as Livy has to hit these shots versus iChaos in close range. One connection and almost a clutch.
Ooh, I really thought that Tick might clutch that up. That would have been unbelievable. Nani can deal so much damage. And a little angry emo coming out there as the peep goes in early. A connection onto Piper. Low HP. Tribe seeking the blood. They want this full kill. But they're going to group up together here in the grass. Use the unknown to their advantage. Low HP again. And no connections there. Somehow SK are staying alive.
Yoshi was forced to run for the hills, and